It's August, and even though it's still 100 degrees outside, fall is technically right around the corner. Maybe you've already taken your trip to Bath and Body Works for your spiced apple candle. It's also back to school season, with parents complaining about the school supply list and others of you starting to grumble about the impending expense of your student loan payments. That's right, they do officially start back October 1st, for real this time, and interest starts to accrue as soon as September 1st. Now, in July, when the Supreme Court struck down the $10,000 in student loan forgiveness, people kind of zoned out. Today, I want to emphasize that there has still been substantial changes to student loan programs, and you need to pay attention to them. Pre-COVID epic world meltdown, I used to pretty regularly recommend that borrowers not choose the income-driven repayment plan. In my opinion, it added insult to injury. It allowed student loans to grow forever. I wanted clients to pick a 10-year pay schedule and prioritize paying down the debt and just knock it out. With all of the reform over the last few years, that recommendation has changed a lot. In the Biden administration overhaul last year, they made substantial changes to income-driven repayments in that they capped the amount of your monthly payment to 10% of your discretionary income. Additionally, the plan called for forgiveness of unpaid interest. You hear the horror stories all the time about how some people have, even after years of making student loan payments, still owe more than they even borrowed in the first place. This is due to accrued or accumulated interest that is compounding. Now, this year, they have made even more changes to the IDR programs, and many of you are already in the repay program. And so what they've done is they've automatically updated that, changed the name to SAVE, and yes, of course, made some pretty substantial changes. So here's where they are. First off, they increased the income exemption to 225% of the poverty line. Your undergraduate loan payments are now capped at 5% of your discretionary income. Your discretionary income is based on your income and your family size. It's a very specific number to you. For example, a single person earning less than $32,000 a year under this formula technically has a minimum payment of 0. The lower cap makes even more people eligible to take advantage of the unpaid interest forgiveness. And again, unpaid interest is the interest that you didn't meet with your minimum payment. Historically, it would accumulate over time. Now it's going to be forgiven and it won't be compounding anymore. After 20 years of regular payments, your loan balance may be completely forgiven. And finally, this is a weird one. You can now file taxes married filing separately to exclude your spouse's income from yours for the purpose of calculating the student loan payment. The changes are expected to cut undergraduate borrowers' monthly payments by more than half of what it was. Before I go any further, we need to consider a few things. There are 4 different types of income-driven repayment programs. I'm talking about one, okay, the SAVE program. You also have public service forgiveness loans. You have differences between the way graduate and undergraduate loans are treated. Parents, you may have taken out a PLUS loan, which is in its own little world. Just remember that right now I'm talking about the SAVE program, which is replacing the Repay program, which was one of the 4 IDR programs. What used to be a very straightforward recommendation of tackle your debt is now a very complicated yet potentially beneficial planning opportunity. Before payments start back in October, I highly recommend you consider the following things. What repayment plan is best for me, and is it tied to my income? If it is tied to my income, what is my current personal discretionary income today? And what steps can I take to lower that number? Examples of ways to lower your discretionary income are contributing to an HSA, maybe increasing your 401k contribution if it's pre-tax, which leads me to my next one. If I'm making Roth 401k contributions, should I consider making pre-tax contributions because they'll impact my discretionary income? And again, should I file my taxes married filing jointly or married filing single? Because if you're the spouse with the higher student loan payment and the lower income, it may behoove you to file your taxes separately so your spouse's income is not considered. Number 3, clearly understand what steps you must follow in order to be eligible for loan forgiveness under the new rules. And if you have previously made mistakes, what can you do today to correct those in order to become eligible for forgiveness? Number 4, are your loans consolidated? Should they be? And what ramifications are there if you do consolidate them? And number 5, if I am currently not in the Repay income-driven repayment program and ultimately decide that the new Save program is best for me, how do I make the change? And most importantly, when must it be made by? There are very specific implementation dates in the reform. Bottom line, I could not possibly tell you everything you need to know in a 4-minute video. I highly recommend that if you have student loan payments, you begin the research and actually consider engaging a student loan advisor. There are a number of great companies and resources out there. I have no personal experience with them, but I am impressed with the group at studentloanplanner.com. They have some great educational materials, calculators, which I loved playing around with, and podcasts on the topic. And I'm going to post some of their resources at the end of this video, including the federal aid website you actually go to in order to enroll in the SAVE program. But for now, that's it. This is Jeannie, the 401k lady.